SandySaysRead, and welcome to the channel. This evening we are going to ramble about a bird. Welcome to the madness. Please subscribe to the channel so that you always know when there's madness going on. You guys, this video was prompted by a friend here on YouTube who did something similar. He was not rambling about a bird. In fact, he wasn't really rambling. He was doing a very nice tribute to his cat who passed away. So let me tell you about that first, because I would like for you to go over to his channel also when you're done with this video, and give him a like, a subscribe, whatever. His name is Phil. Phil, TMNT, for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I think is great because I love the turtles. Okay, so back on January 7th, he uploaded a video titled Happy Sweet 16 Nemo. Nemo is his pet cat who passed away back in the summer. January 7th would have been Nemo's 16th birthday. And I found that to be lovely. He was basically posting a tribute to this pet cat. And I thought, wow, I wonder if enough time has passed that I could do a tribute video like that for Petri. Petri is my son conure, who was with me for 19 years and who just was the sunshine in my everyday, right? I'm already having a little bit of trouble. Oh my goodness. I thought I could get through this. And maybe we can. Maybe we can get through this. Let's see. I'm going to ramble about Petri and talk to you about the good, cool, wonderful things about Petri, which is what Phil did with his video about Nemo. He talked about good, cool things that Nemo did, cool things that Nemo got into, some of his, precociousness and funny things that Nemo did. And I found that to be heartwarming and kind of therapeutic, right? I think, well, maybe it would be a good thing to talk about Petri in such ways. I have been able to talk about Petri without bursting into tears in front of people the past couple of years, so let's give it a try. Let's go for it. Those of you who watched this channel in the early days, back in 2018, you may remember that after a period in September, early October of 2018, I just stopped filming. I stopped posting stuff. Nothing was happening on this channel for a year or two because I was just too sad to continue with this kind of content. I was like, nope, done. Never mind. Because Petri did pass away. I never knew his exact birth date, the exact date of his hatching. I never knew that. I knew it was spring of 1999 because the guy I was married to did something right that spring. And I'm very thankful to him for this. For my birthday in June of 1999, the guy I was married to bought Petri for me. He was working in the classified ad department at the Kansas City Star, and a gal named Brenda was going to place an ad for these pet birds that she had. They had hatched, she had the babies, and they were almost ready to go to new homes. She was going to be moving. Her family was moving out of state, across the country, and she didn't think that the babies would fare well for that kind of move, and she wanted to get them sold prior to her move. And she was selling them at like a discounted, like less than she typically would sell these birds for, because she wanted to make sure they got sold before the move and went to good homes, blah, 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 blah. And the dude I was married to was like, Sandy would love to have a bird. And so for my birthday, as an early birthday present, he arranged for me to have one of these birds. We went to Brenda's house one evening after work and got to see the babies. And they were fully feathered. They had all their feathers. They had their baby feathers, so they were a lot of green. Petri he's a sun conure. In fact, I have a picture of him here. There, that's him. You see how very, very bright, vivid, and gorgeous he is. But he had a whole lot more green to him when he was a baby, because when they're babies, they have to hide in the trees, right? So a lot more green when he's a baby. I do have baby pictures of him. I should have brought one of those in here. Because, I've always been crazy. It's not a recent development. I've always been crazy. And I did take him to have his baby pictures done when he was young. So yeah, I've got baby pictures of him. Anyway, Where was I? Oh, yeah. So we went to get Petri. And I will read for you the story of Petri picking me as his human, because it's in this book. I'm rambling. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be kind of a rambling video because I'm just telling you things to keep me from bursting into tears, but to tell you how cool Petri was. And this book, I started writing this before Petri passed, but I didn't. I mean, after he passed, I just put it away. I didn't deal with it for a little while. But I was writing this book from Petri's point of view. Petri was telling other birds, here's how to get your humans to do everything for you. So that's why it's called How to Train Your Human. Get up there. There you go. A guide for parrots. So he's in chapter 1. It's choose a human you can train easily. How I chose my human. It says, my human named me after the young pterodactyl in the 1988 movie, The Land Before Time. I've not watched that cartoon. My research leads me to understand pterodactyls were immense predators with razor-sharp talons, keen eyesight, and ferocious beaks of death. I like that. Sandy chose well when selecting the name Petri for me. I chose well when selecting her as my human. I hatched with 4 other eggs. My bird mother and bird father were exceptionally beautiful, with feathers colored deep orange like fire and vivid yellow like the sun. My siblings were adequately cute. Brenda, the first human in my life, worked night and day to make sure we 5 chicks had all the comforts we needed in our nest box. I would learn later that she had the title breeder. Some people say that title with derision. Sandy and I know Brenda was an awesome lady, so we don't snarl when we reminisce about her. We smile. We're both thankful that Brenda brought us together. And here's how that happened. 19 full years ago, I hatched alongside 4 brothers and sisters. We lived with Brenda and her family at first. Her family was kind, but my bird parents informed me she'd be moving far away, and all 5 chicks had to be sold to new homes beforehand. One night, Sandy and her husband came to visit us. One of my sisters had already gone to live at her new home, so I understood the drill. When Sandy came in, I knew she was the lady I wanted to live with. She seemed like the kind of lady who would cave to my every whim. The 4 of us chicks climbed around on Sandy while she sat on the floor, and we pretended she was a tree in the Amazon rainforest. It was great. She laughed a lot, which I thought was a good sign, and she didn't mind at all that we weren't potty trained. I stayed close to her the whole time she sat talking to Brenda, but toward the end of her visit, the humans placed all 4 of us in front of our cage. I feared Sandy was going to leave without me. My heart rate quickened as alarm bells sounded in my birdie brain. I'd never find another human as easy to train as Sandy, and I knew it. As soon as Brenda let go of me, I waddled back to Sandy as fast as I could, shaking my tail feathers behind me. I made it back to her before any of my dawdling siblings and climbed up the front of her blue shirt. It seemed appropriate to poop on her shoulder to mark her as mine. The other 3 chicks toddled over as well, but they were slow. Sandy said that meant I was supposed to be her forever bird. And she was right. Okay, so that's how Petri and I met. That's how he selected me from the other birds. That's how he selected me. So I never knew his exact birth date, his exact hatch date. I didn't have that information, but that's okay. Here we go. Let's see. I've got some notes here, so I'm looking at the notes. I had parakeets and finches in the past, but Petri was the first parrot. He was a sun conure, and he was the first parrot. He had a whole different type of intelligence level, personality, everything from like a finch or a parakeet. And I'm not saying parakeets aren't smart. They are, but Petri was so smart and precocious and funny. We had games that we would play together, little games that, and I know this sounds crazy. I know it does, but we had little games that we played together. And one of the games, if I had a lot going on and he couldn't have out of cage time and he was stuck in his cage, we would play a game of got your toes. I got your toes. I would come up to the cage and he would flip to the side of it and be hanging there looking at me. And I would say, I'm going to get your toes. And I would tweak one of his toes and I'm going to get your other toes. And I would lean in, touch a toe, and he would lean in with his beak. And when I pulled away, he would back away. And so we would like back and forth at each other. And then I would end with, and I'm going to get your pretty belly too. And I would tickle his little belly through the bars. And then I would go do whatever next thing I needed to do. And yeah, so there's the I'm going to get your toes game. There were all kinds of other things. I know it sounds crazy. I know it does. But these were cute things that Petri and I did. There was one time early on in his life, I fed him a nutritious pelleted diet from the company called KT. And Brenda had recommended that to me. And it was colored. There were colorful pellets in the bag. I got away from that after a couple of years. I learned that the non-colored ones were healthier. And so I did switch to a different type of, it is what it is. But early on, I would give him these colored pellets, and he did not prefer the flat oval white ones. They're like an off-white oval one. They were green and red, and I think there was like a purple with like a grape look to it. It looked like a little bunch of grapes. Anyway, he didn't like the white ones, right? And so when I would give him his dish of food, he would always leave the little flat white ones in the dish, and he'd eat all the other colors. I'm like, oh, okay, he doesn't like the white ones. So like a good human, I started picking out the white ones before I would give him his food in the mornings. Yeah, because I'm trained, right? Well, I saved the little white ones in a baggie. Okay, I was saving them in a baggie, and when I would take his old food dish out, I would pick all the white ones and put them in the baggie. I was saving them up, and one day I put all the white ones into his dish, and I put the dish in the little container, in the little holder, and he rushes over to it and puts up one foot on the dish, and he looks in, and he looks up at me like, hey, this is terribly wrong. And I'm giggling because I pranked the bird, right? I've pranked him. And it's like this look came over my bird like, you have pranked me. You are joking with me, and this is unacceptable. And he like pulls his foot away and like sat there, and he would mutter. He had this like this muttering that he would do when he was upset about something, right? And so he muttered at me like, this is unacceptable. And of course I had his real food ready and waiting, so I switched it out. And then he was happy and content to eat his food while muttering at me. He muttered at me for a while over that. Yeah. So, yeah, pranking the bird. That was very cute. He has, I still have, of course I kept, this is his bath bowl. Petri would let me know when he wanted his bath bowl. He had a specific squawk that meant bath bowl. He didn't use human words. Some conures can speak. You all have probably heard on some of these videos, a squeaky bird. He can speak, he can say words very well, which is surprising. But Petri never really spoke words very well. He did say apple once, which was surprising, and yes, I gave him apple. But when he wanted his bath bowl, he had a squawk that meant bath time. He wanted his bath bowl. And if I did not respond, he got more insistent. But this was his bath bowl. This is what he wanted for his bath bowl. Other bowls would suffice if this one wasn't available, but this is the one he wanted. So I'd fill this. Once in a while, over 19 years, once in a while, I would prank him, and I would just set the bath bowl like on his play gym with no water in it. And he would come over to it and dunk a foot in and look at me like, woman, do you know what you forgot? So yeah, once in a while I would prank him with the bath bowl. Yeah, but he would always, I'd fill it with the water, and he would put a foot in first, like to test it, like to test the depth or the temperature or something. He'd always test it because he was a smart little bird. Yeah, this was his bath bowl. What else is on the list? Oh, the cozy hut. Yeah, the cozy hut. This is not his cozy hut. This one is just one size smaller than what he typically would have. I do have two of his cozy huts that when I was going through this stuff that I was going to bring over for filming, the cozy hut, for some reason, that was getting a little emotional. So I did not bring his actual cozy huts from him. But this one is an example of a cozy hut. Nice, easy. It's, how do I describe this? It's got not a hard surface underneath the fabric, but there's a rigid item in there that you can hear it, right? He would get into the cozy hut and he would tear up the fabric until he could make just like a little swath, a little hole for his belly to be in. Because he was not a fat bird, but he had some plumpness to him. He was adequately plump, and he would put his belly in the hole that he made. He would customize his cozy huts, is how I should say it. There was one time when he had customized his cozy hut to the point where I was concerned about the safety factor. You know, there were threads and things, and so I had removed the cozy hut, thrown it away, cleaned his cage, and I didn't have a replacement cozy hut yet. Whoops. I said, well, it'll be okay. He'll make it through the night, and I'll get him a cozy hut tomorrow, whatever. That was my thinking. And so the next day, or might have even been 2 days, but when I got him his cozy hut and I hung it in, he went nuts going in and out of the cozy hut and muttering and just squeaking and squawking. And he was so excited to have his cozy hut returned. And I was like, oh my goodness, this bird missed that cozy hut. He was never without a cozy hut again. I always made sure I had a backup cozy hut. Always had a backup. He was never without one again because he was just so happy to have that thing returned. I was like, oh my God. Okay. So he always had a cozy hut. What else do I have in here? Oh, his Christmas wreath toy. He loved this specific type of Christmas toy. It's just made of like a bird safe rope and little wooden balls that were threaded in between the rope, and it was in a form of a wreath, and it was Christmas colors. So every Christmas I would get this particular wreath for him for Christmas, and I usually had to get him 2, sometimes 3, because he would just destroy this thing. He loved it. When I brought the Christmas wreath out, he would be like, oh, the wreath, and here he is. He would be darting in and out of it and like swimming through it as I'm hanging it in his cage for him. He would be in there, and if the wreath was in the cage, he would be in the cage. Like, he didn't need to come out to his play gym on top because he was in the cage with the wreath. I'm like, dude. And they come in different sizes. They used to come in different sizes, and so I would have like a larger one in there and like a smaller one for him. Whatever. He would play with the wreath. He really liked that. Yeah, the Christmas wreath was an awesome thing. There you go. So, yeah, those are all the things I wrote down. I'm surprised I've made it this far. But, yeah, Petri, he was the most awesomest of birds, the most awesomest of sun conures. His book, actually, when I finally got it out the door, I submitted it to a couple of contests. One, he didn't even make the finals. I don't know why. I think I entered it in the wrong category because it's kind of hard to categorize it. I mean, it's not really a self-help book. It's about how to take care of your pets, but it's written from the pet's point of view. So is it speculative fiction or is it nonfiction? I mean, what is it, right? It's really hard to categorize, but it did win a 2020 Best Indie Book, Notable Indie, from Shelf Unbound. And so I printed that out, and so I got that. How to Train Your Human. Yeah. That's it. Petri is awesome. Yeah, I had to wait a little while after losing him to finish his book, because I just wasn't in a good headspace for that. That was a bad time. But I got through, and his cage mate, Cricket, was there to help heal my heart. Yeah. That's all I've got. I mean, there's so many more Petri stories. I mean, he was with me for 19 years. There's 1,000 Petri stories. We did so much stuff together. We got through a lot together. Yeah. But I don't want to go into those, all the things that we lived through together, because then I'll start like sobbing like an idiot on camera, and y'all don't want to see that. We don't need that. It's better to focus on the good and the positive and just the quirky, fun stuff, because Petri was a fun little bird. He was amazing. He was great. He learned my spider scream. Yeah, that's not on the list. When I lived in a house outside of the Naples area, it was near the Everglades, right? And there were these huge wolf spiders all around the property and in the house. And they would freak me out, right? I mean, I'm not good with spiders to begin with, but when you've got one that's like the size of your hand and jumping at you, I would scream. And Petri learned the spider scream pretty quickly. And I could be anywhere in that house, and if Petri let out the spider scream, I knew that he was seeing one of those spiders, and I needed to go to his part of the house and kill the spider. He also had a specific squawk that meant the cat was stuck in the cupboard, because Troilus and Cressadie would, Sadie, she would get stuck in the cabinets in the kitchen. She would like get in, I don't know how she got into the cabinets, but she would get stuck in there. And she would meow because she was stuck. And Petri would be like, oh, this stupid cat is stuck again. And so he would have a specific squawk that meant the cat is stuck. And I would go into the kitchen and get the cat out of the cabinets. Yeah. He could communicate, just not with people words. He just had different squawks meant different things. He was amazing. Yes, he was my little dude. I wish I had more videos of him. When I moved here to this house in 2016, I don't know if she's the director or the owner of the parrot sanctuary nearby, Wendy. She works at Ziggy's Haven, right? She started Ziggy's Haven Bird Sanctuary. And I was like, hey, we should do videos. We should do like a talk video where the two of us just, riff off one another and put those online and get some, some traffic, build up some marketing for the sanctuary. And we filmed 3 in one afternoon, and it didn't really take off. And I edited them, I got them edited up and sent them over to him like, hey, what do you think? And it just kind of fizzled, it didn't go anywhere. And the gal who was gonna film for us, she actually filmed that day and then moved like to another part of the state. I'm like, oh man, this fizzled, this didn't work. But in those 3 videos, Petri is in his cage because we didn't want the birds out, right? We wanted to keep things contained. He was in his cage, and in a couple of the videos you can see him moving around in there, and he squawks about the travel carrier that brought him to Florida. So he's in a couple of those kind of videos, but I don't really have a lot of video of Petri doing stuff, which is really a shame. I'm disappointed that I don't have more video of Petri. I've got tons of pictures of him, which is good, because crazy, I would take him to places to get his picture done. Like I took him to glamour shots. I'm not kidding. I had a coupon. So I took him to glamour shots. I'm like, this is my bird. Let's take his picture. We did. And it was great. So I've got glamour shots of Petri framed on my wall. Yeah. So there you go, you guys. I think that's enough rambling. Petri was awesome and great. I miss him every day. I think Cricket misses him too, but it is what it is. He was a great pet. Great pet. That's all. Thumbs up for great pets, great memories. Thumbs up for wonderful pets that make our lives better, more joyful, bring us good memories, good stuff. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to all this rambling. You guys, please subscribe to the channel. Please click the bell notification icon so you're notified when I do the usual stuff on this channel. The usual stuff is books. I mean, yeah, I did talk about Petri's book for a minute, but usually we talk about other people's books and do reviews and booktube tags and fun stuff like that. That's it.